Yeah, she's going through like a whole 90s boy band phase, which is both painful for me, but also like, oh, haha, I guess I can appreciate these songs. But, like only because my kid is
You should
into
break
them.
out the CD player.
Ooh, that would be a little too authentic, I think, as it like skips.
Exactly. You have to build them up to it. The kid doesn't get a phone until they've had to struggle through a cassette tape, a VHS, until you make them like manually wind back up the VHS because they fucked it up.
Trying to explain how things were like, harder in my time. Like back in my day, we had to rewind the tapes and we used a pencil, and god damn it, we said thank you.
Back in my day, it was harder for your mother. Now I use Blue Chew.
Blue Chew, now a sponsor of Psychic Dolphin Garage for some fucking reason. Want to fuck a dolphin? Try out Blue Chew.
Psychic Dolphin Garage.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode from the Psychic Dolphin Garage. I'm Zach, he, they.
I'm Kelton, he, him.
And I'm Artemis, she, her.
It's Happy National Hot Dog Day, everyone. Keeping up the streak of sexual national holidays. Am I right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You can go get a chili dog this week, but you cannot get it for 99 cents because James Coney Island, the Houston-based hot dog retailer extravaganza experience, the hot dog experience that us Houston natives have grown up with, is nearly going out of business. They shut down lots of their locations, and a diversification of their menu has not saved them from free fall.
I believe the term was forced diversity of their menu.
Oh
God.
They were moving away from the singular brats and the white run bread all the way through.
Y'all are the worst.
It's okay. We still have Sonic chili dogs though, so
that's true. Sonic has footlong dogs, something that James Coney Island never had and never considered.
Footlong dogs.
Do you need 12 inches of pain and heartburn? Well,
I already have those. That's my aorta.
Oh, okay. Well, I was about to say, come on, Arnes. Like, let's not start revealing state secrets here on the podcast. But yes, the aorta works, I think, pretty well for everyone. This has been, I guess, not great news in the food world overall. I think.
Yeah, we're all basically in mourning. The world is burning around us, and really the biggest loss of the week, James Coney Island.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely the biggest and most important news that happened this week.
Definitely not the 4,000 acres that are burning north of Huntsville, the Colorado fire, the wildfires that are now spreading in Europe.
Okay, well, Zach, again, we can talk about this, and that might be important.
What's more important is the fire in my esophagus. That's right, Kelton.
That's exactly right. I was just going to say, like, this is the world that is in the microwave, and, like, the bubbling is just starting right now.
That's true. If we point to every bubble, we won't realize as the whole thing begins to boil.
Are you saying that our corrupt politicians have put us all in the hot dog water?
God damn it. Now, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. That, and I don't know. We have to be rude and crude. We have to show them our chocolate starfish to fight them. Other Limp Bizkit references.
I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna tell it how it is. You will not. I'm getting out of this hot dog cart, and I'm taking a stand.
The hot dog stand is the last bastion of American freedom. It is here that we will draw our line in the sand. Arm yourselves with glizzies, my brethren, please.
For too long, we have argued over whether or not ketchup belongs on a hot dog. It doesn't. But we must put aside our differences so that lest we be boiled in the hot dog water.
Don't worry, soon we'll be out of the hot dog water and into the fire.
Getting the full grill going, grill pilled.
A
tactical hot dog cart, I think, would be pretty fucking great.
Oh, Speaking of grilling, we really ought to be grilling our politicians, our Democratic representatives, over some of the decisions that they've been making, specifically in here in Texas.
Yeah.
I mean,
guess
overall, really shit.
well, yeah, because nationally they're so good.
God, nationally, I mean, AOC is out there just getting arrested, doing...
And definitely handcuffed. Let's not, start any talking about how this was performative or maybe it was only done for the optics. Okay. I believe it's the invisible cuffs, like what happens when they arrest the Fantastic Four or metahumans. That's what I think was happening.
Yeah.
Let that silence sit there the whole time.
Let it simmer.
It has to sit on the heater rolls for a little bit before you can pick it back up again. Cover me in chili and call me a state representative because I'm ready to get between buns up at Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, Madison Cawthorn. God. So I think our running theory of the podcast is that Texas is about 4 years ahead of everyone else. Is that right, Kelton?
I think at the very least when it comes to like right-wing politics, it certainly is. So everything else we're like 50 years in the past. But in terms of trying to like figure out like where the Republican or right-wing mind is going to be going, look to Texas, because within 4 years, then it'll all become nationally. What is in the weirdness that is our state. And this past weekend there was a state convention. It was the Texas Democratic State Convention, and I'm just going to let the title of the article that we're going to be looking at speak for itself. It says that Texas Democrats know they need a new leader. They settled for the old one. Boy, golly gosh, I wonder why I would pick this as being a precursor for what is going to happen to America nationally overall. It's crazy. This is an amalgam of two different articles that came from the Texas Monthly and the Texas Tribune. I'm doing, basic levels of sourcing here. So I just figured we could take a look at it. I'll read through it, and then Artemis and Zach, if y'all wouldn't mind, please giving your insightful commentary. That way, then we can just kind of figure out what exactly 2024 is going to have in store for us. Okay?
It is 3 a.m. in the 7-Eleven in my brain, so I'm ready.
The hot dog is split open.
Oh yeah.
The hot dog's about like seconds from getting pulled into the rollers and just turns into goo.
It is 3 a.m. in this 7-Eleven, and I'm about to pull out a 9mm and steal all of the packs of Swishers.
Well, Texas Democrats are mad as hell, and they aren't going to take it anymore. Or will they? That was the question looming over this weekend's state convention in Dallas, Texas, where thousands of deep blue stalwarts gathered to reconnect, regroup, and react to what's felt like an endless onslaught of body blows from state Republicans, which I think is a great way of saying just taking L's all year. I think that's a very politically correct way of phrasing that.
Yeah, endless onslaught of body blows. The Democrats control nothing because they can't platform a good candidate. The best they have is a Beto tester.
Yeah. What if,
Beto will put a cork in it.
Haha. Yes. Thank you, everyone's uncle here in Texas.
Beto O'Rourke, I want to take your guns. Wait, I'm sorry. I don't want to take your guns. Wait, I'm sorry. We should have better laws about
Beto,
guns.
mommy, sorry, sorry. O'Rourke, yes, indeed. Now, first there was the 2020 general election when Democrats failed to unseat Senator John Cornyn or win back the Texas House as they'd hoped. Then came the disastrous 87th legislature in 2021, during which Republicans drew up new, even more heavily gerrymandered congressional and legislative districts. Republicans used the session to ram through a series of particularly noxious bills that restricted voting access, allowed Texans to carry a loaded handgun in public without a license or training, and offered a cash bounty for reporting anyone assisting in an abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy.
That was not a bit on our podcast. That was literally...
Yeah, I remember Pog the Bounty Hunter that we were joking about.
Mhm.
Yeah. God, nice to know that also came true. Good times. Good times on this podcast.
Cool. Love it.
Cool. Good times. Yeah. Now, the recent Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade, which will trigger a Texas law banning all abortions except to save the life of the mother, without exceptions for cases of incest or rape, solidified the sense of a state Democratic Party under siege.
If you've been watching any of the federal, like stuff that's happening, there's some lady, I actually don't know who it is that's been doing the arguments, that there's like some lady that's talking about how like a medical procedure to remove material that forms during an ectopic pregnancy is not technically an abortion.
Oh yeah, they're changing the definition of an abortion to make what they do not abortion,
so that they can just call everything else an abortion. And there's no difference between what's happening between the two.
I had a medical procedure. You are a whore. There's a difference. yeah. That's kind of how they want things to go here. So,
hey, look. I thought that it would be cheaper to get my vasectomy done, with, the way I got it done. Okay. And it was cheaper. Did it cost me more afterwards? Was the wound care more expensive because it got infected and I lost, a lot of flesh in that area? Yes. Okay.
Well, that was because you
but I enjoyed it.
Them off and then used a branding iron.
Like I said, I enjoyed it. I am a whore.
You have the Yellowstone brand just right there. It's full commitment.
I'm just cattle, sir.
We're fighting something really ugly, said Rochelle Garza, the Democratic nominee for state attorney general, addressing the Texas Young Democrats on Friday. The Republicans are doing everything they can to attack our communities, to make our schools less safe, to remove the regulations on guns, to attack trans youth and the LGBTQ plus community, to attack women by ending access to abortion care. The Democrats directed much of their vitriol at Governor Greg Abbott, who has presided over what several speakers described as a neo-fascist turn in Texas politics. Several, not all of them, but several of them would call what happened in the legislature neo-fascist.
I like that it's a neo-fascist turn. It's not like, it's an extension of the neo-fascism that we've been experiencing since the early 2000s, like Bush era,
No, of course not. But I like how Beto put it when he said, Greg Abbott is chaos. He is corruption. He is cruelty. He is incompetence, which in my head is like the opposite of that speech that was given in The Help. You is smart, you is beautiful, you is loving, you is caring.
Okay. Big brain theory. Beto has started listening to Professor Jordan P. Peterson. And he's appealing to these broad images, relating like chaos, corruption, cruelty, to this feminine aspect, this disorder, and he wants to be the order. He wants to be the masculine aspect.
I must be the dragon. Abbott's cat girl. Yes, indeed.
I mean, if we're talking about monster fucking, like he could just be a dragon, and then Greg Abbott could just be Greg Abbott.
That's all we really want, I think, right?
I just want a
go
bad
full
dragon
mode. Yeah, you go full bad dragon. Bad Dragon O'Rourke. That's what we want. But if there was fury at Republican leaders, there was also plenty of discontent with the state Democratic Party. Chairman Gilberto Hinojosa, a former county judge from Brownsville, has led the party for 10 years and was up for re-election for another 4-year term. I've added a photo of him to our docket, but imagine like everyone's kind of friendly grandpa with a mustache. That's what Hinojosa
big Texas mustache, friendly looking.
Yeah.
His name's been on billboards for years.
Yes.
He sucks. Spineless.
Yeah. He's not great. He's not great, as we will dive into. He faces two challengers, the first being Texas Southern University law professor Carol Robinson, who I think it just is the stereotypical, black male TSU professor of law is kind of what he looks like. Looks like they made him in a factory for that kind of thing. So,
oh yeah,
can't wait until this nerd is on like a Treasury committee or something. Like
nice
that.
lawyer cut suit, actually.
Yes. And then finally, the last opponent is former Agriculture Commissioner nominee Kim Olson, who came within 5 points of unseating incumbent Republican Sid Miller in 2018. Kim Olson's biggest claim to fame was that she was an Air Force pilot. So, women in the military.
So she... Wait, did she win?
No. What?
5 points.
Oh, so she
lost by 5 points. That's considered a win in Texas. If you're a Democrat who lost by only 5 points.
Wait, so you're a former Air Force captain? You can't even bomb in the fucking polls?
Damn.
So she did I think she was one of the first ones to do the I'm a US Armed Services member commercial where she walks around in her freaking aviator jacket and talks about how many how many other countries she defended us from.
Yeah, she's been riding the wave of 2 years of Top Gun Maverick trailers for each of her failed campaigns.
Yeah,
the movie's been pushed back that long.
Well, and but the one that we remember was the Dan Crenshaw commercial. Now, of course, the only person that won any of their seats out of the Dan Crenshaw commercial was Dan Crenshaw, but he pulled the Call of Duty ass commercial.
Well, yeah, because, once you have the high budget profile, of course you're going to win. Imagine the budget that the Democrat had with that sort of thing. It's pathetic. Oh, my God. Now, Hinojosa has argued he's grown the party immensely over the past decade, putting Democrats in a position to capture statewide office as soon as November. 10 years ago, you elected me to be your chair, and I promised you that we would rebuild this party. Well, I've made good on our promise. We are now the biggest battleground state in the United States.
We're the biggest battleground state. I mean, by square mileage or...
Certainly not by point differential.
By casualty rate.
Oh, God.
Now, his challengers have said that he had enough time to deliver on turning Texas blue, and it's time for new ideas and new energy. In an impassioned speech to the convention's General Assembly on Saturday, Robinson, who chairs the Texas Coalition of Black Democrats, reviewed the party's 3-decade run of failure, the longest drought of any state party in Texas. The last time we elected a Democratic governor was 1990, he lamented. Yeah, it's hasn't been great, I don't think.
Let me just check how many. Let's see, Texas total population.
Well, it gets really bad when you realize
28.64 million.
At this point,
Dallas population.
At this point, do y'all just want to borrow Jesse Ventura? We can give him to you. He can run a third party, maybe.
Well,
that worked
actually,
for us.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Artemis, because the only reason the Democrat won in 1990 for governor was because a libertarian stole votes away from the Republican nominee. So, immediately after that, Texas said, "Fuck you, fuck that. That's not happening ever again," and crushed the Libertarian Party into dust.
Oh,
So,
God. Let's see. Probably 2.4 million in Austin plus 2.4. That's 15.9. So 28 minus 15.9, 12. So we have something like a 55-60% of the population lives in the 4 major metro areas.
Yeah.
Which are solid blue.
Yeah, but they're, again, centrist Democrat blue. Let's not actually start convincing ourselves.
Look. I'm just saying, by the numbers, we don't live in a democracy. Anyways,
That's true. Actually, let's continue forward with this. Now, let's see. Robinson went on to explain, we haven't had a majority in the Texas legislature for more than 20 years. We've got to get back to the business of winning votes. Olson, who lives on a ranch in Palo Pinto County, west of Fort Worth, used her speech to call out the party for neglecting non-urban Texans. I connect with the frustration of our activists, donors, and voters alike, she said. I can repeat and recite the challenges that I know firsthand that our great candidates have when they run in red and rural areas. Yeah. Okay, cool. So she's building up some speed, talking about how we need to focus on rural areas here, especially if you're Democrats. All right, this sounds good. In fact, she was endorsed by over 70 party chairs, with 60 from mostly rural counties, including the president of the Texas Democratic County Chairs Association and hundreds of former Democratic candidates, donors, and activists. This retired Air Force colonel, I'm sorry, I said captain before, colonel's pink-clad supporters were a raucous, highly visible presence throughout the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center in downtown Dallas. Which I just love that the Democratic convention is still at the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center in Texas. Yeah. All right. Can't escape the Republican shadow looming over things.
No, literally. It's at the Robert E. Lee Convention Center in Texas.
Yeah, the Rally for Freedom being held at the Joseph Goebbels Society for Human Advancement. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oof.
God.
That is the perfect horrifying phrasing.
Now, Chris Langfield, the Democratic delegate from Blanco, wore a pink KN95 mask and a pink shirt that read, "Kim's got your back." The leadership that we've had just hasn't worked for the past several years, she told me. We aren't getting the results we need. It feels like the same old, same old. Kim just radiates energy and excitement. All right, so we have a candidate that is energizing a base with rural areas all coming together. Are you sensing something here about what is going to happen?
Gets crushed.
Every other candidate folds and then forces her to also fold to back the 80-year-old geriatric.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what happens. Not at all. Shh. No,
Okay.
Stop skipping ahead. Stop skipping every 30 seconds. God damn it. Listen to the full podcast. I can check these analytics and see. Now, earlier that day, Udahosa conducted a whirlwind tour of the party caucuses, defending his decade-long tenure and making his pitch for re-election. Again, he's trying to advocate that the past 10 years hasn't been long enough. He needs 14 years. And he even admits mistakes were made. He's not given sufficient attention or resources to non-urban counties. He told the rural caucus on Friday, "I've been slapped around a bunch of times by my good friends because rural counties haven't gotten the attention they deserve. I get it, and I understand it. It's not that I haven't tried, but maybe I haven't tried hard enough." If he were to be reelected, a chastened Udahosa promised the rural delegates that candidates and local parties would receive the money they deserve.
Politics
there
is
it
like an investment. You get 3% return every year.
Well,
and the
it's
more
also
that you
nice to
give,
say,
the more that you
yeah,
get.
I've been fucking you over for the past 10 years, but vote for me, and I, the guy who's been fucking you over, won't do that anymore.
This time I won't fuck you.
Now, the 2020 election loomed large in the leadership race. Democrats had hoped for a historic breakthrough up and down the ballot, but vastly underperformed, leading to some recriminations targeting the state party. Udahosa convened. Oh, yeah, right, Artemis? We were supposed to actually, again, be kind of going tit for tat. Maybe they win one, the Democrats win one. Instead, just got absolutely the floor wiped. So such a shame. Even with Biden winning. So should tell you some things about the people who voted for Biden at the top and then voted red down the rest of the ballot. But again,
you don't gotta tell me anything more about Biden. I'd like to hear as little about Biden as possible.
well, then great. What if I were to tell you that Hosa, who again is not the allegory for Biden in this story, convened a committee to look into what went wrong and produced a 29-page report citing Democrats' suspension of in-person campaigning amid the coronavirus pandemic, among other things. They blamed not going door-to-door in person during a pandemic for why their policies were not more popular with voters. That was their takeaway.
I honestly, considering the type of people that you have described to me, you can only benefit from having them never meet another human being. I think if I were a Democratic voter in Texas and then I was faced with the type of people I would be asked to vote for, I would very quickly stop being a Democratic voter in Texas. I might also just no longer live in Texas.
Now on Saturday afternoon, this delegate started voting for the party chair. The writer interviewed Selena Vasquez, a Hinojosa supporter from Brazos County. "We can't change horses in the middle of the fight," she argued. "We're on the cusp of winning. The party has made improvements, and we've worked very hard to build a world-class staff to raise money. When the party experienced losses in 2020, they put together a report, and Hinojosa followed all of the recommendations. He's also the only one who knows how to turn out the Latino vote."
What are you... I'm sorry, what are you improving? Fucking Chairman Enver Hoxha has only built up a bunker of money, and he's refusing to come out of it, essentially, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, well, especially when Hinojosa's opponents have disputed this claim, noting that the inroads the Republican Party has recently made in Texas, with exit polls showing Trump got 34% of the Latino vote in 2016 and 38% in 2020.
And that makes sense, too, because the type of... the fragments of the Latino vote, I mean, obviously there's literal, like, first generation, third generation, second generation, but also, much like in Florida, some of those Latino voters are going to be like Gusano Cubans.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yes,
I mean, I
it
believe
is
the
not
term over
hard
here
to
is
rally
Tejano,
those.
But yes,
Yeah, it is not hard to rally those people, or actually, in certain parts of the Mexican population too, because there are parts of I believe the current president of Mexico.
It's good that we are talking about this right now.
Yeah, I'm certainly very, very qualified.
Dennis, where are you, Dennis?
Oh, God.
Come on, Dennis.
You can feel free to subtweet us.
Yeah, I have a
We
good
deserve
authority from Dennis, and they have given me full permission to speak for the
No,
entire
we're not
Latinx
saying
population.
that for legal reasons.
Especially
We are
the
not
queer
saying
ones.
that for legal reasons. We are not saying that. Your thoughts are your own. Do not put those on Dennis.
Now, we get to actual showtime. The votes have been cast, and no candidate captured a majority on the first ballot. Hinojosa received 45%, Olson received 37%, and Robinson 18%.
A block of thermite won 90%.
Now, after the vote was announced, Robinson took this to the stage to announce that he was bowing out of the race and endorsing Hinojosa, something of a surprise given his vocal criticism of Hinojosa's leadership and calls for a need for change and something new. In the second round of voting, Hinojosa won 58% to Olson's 40%.
Oh, my fucking God.
Yeah. Again, I want to emphasize this, that there are people who want, to be the new voices of change, but they want to be the voices of change themselves more than they want someone else to be a new voice of change. So that is how these old dinosaurs continue to stay on, like Hinojosa.
It is hilarious how much like cannibalism there is, essentially. I mean, it's the same thing up north here, where you have a just geriatric party leadership that is already quite experienced at destroying anybody left or populist or anyone who might help them win. And instead of targeting those geriatrics, they all want to be the new face of change.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than coalition building, they cannibalize each other, and then
They also want their specific change. Like they're going towards like an ideal. Like Gilberto is like this staunch, like the ideal of what these Democrats that all go to the same conventions, eat at the same restaurants, and wear the same brand of shoes consider to be the face of the party. They cannot wrap their brains around the fact that Olsen and all of her loud fans are a new like group to be tapped into.
And again, because these particular fans didn't mesh as well with the other people. In fact, the article mentions, they go into a little bit of a tangent that we're going to gloss over, but just talking about how like the idea of saying like, oh, well, we need to find someone at the top who can speak to people with blue eyes. And that's why they're supporting Hinojosa and instead of Olsen, instead of Robinson, which is it's just
I've got
lovely.
blue eyes. Fucking lose him.
Yeah, it's not great, So in the end, Hinojosa squeaked out a win despite being the second choice of more than half of the delegates. Both Olsen and Robinson told me the loss was tough to swallow, but they also said the party must unite in order to defeat their common enemy in November. As disappointed as I am, I sure as hell wouldn't want to see another January 6th, Olsen said. So maybe that's what the Democratic Party is about. We bring signs to our events. Republicans bring guns.
We could bring guns.
God, we're all gonna die.
Exactly. Doesn't that sound just blissfully ignorant? Again, like that's what like the rabble rouser, the person who's like uniting these rural areas, is also still blissfully ignorant to how things actually operate, and might be kind of running like a racist white woman campaign and crushing the voices of like the black caucuses that exist. But again, she's the best of the three options at the moment, and so that's where Texas is right now.
With the way politics works, it's also like the most difficult part of politics is to take white people that are like participating in politics and be like, hey, have you considered that, I don't know, maybe you might be like a little bit racist, but like you don't realize it, and like you could improve that a little bit, and they're like, no, actually.
Or you're calling me racist? Time for me to lean into being racist.
Oh.
No,
exactly.
No.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Well, and it's also like the unwillingness to sort of step aside and just be like, no, maybe I'm not the one who should be in this position of leadership. Maybe it's if
not
I want
even
to
that though, Artemis.
Yeah.
Like someone could be in a position of leadership, just not forward facing. Like there's so many people that work behind the scenes to make everything happen, but that requires a level of a lack of narcissism that I think is so just non-existent for the majority of these kinds of politics, especially when you're dealing with, like, again, if you're a Democrat in Texas and you're going to conventions and you're running for the ego's sake, because you're certainly not running because you think you can win.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that they think they can win, but I also don't think that like anybody that's running as a Democrat in this state is I don't think their brain is functioning.
Yeah, I think
that's... Well, that's the thing is just like everything, there is the false binary, and every single time you point to the fact that all of this paralysis is the result of sticking to this false binary.
Yeah.
Because of it is self-reinforcing. The only thing you get called is a Republican.
The Democrats always say that, like, oh, we need to have a strong Republican Party, and
Democrats say we need to have a strong Republican Party.
Yeah, and they assume that they do. They literally do, and then they assume that the Republicans think that there also needs to be a strong Democratic Party. No, the Republicans want to fucking bash the teeth in of all the Democrats and like replace them entirely and have literally have a one-party state.
Again,
It is.
Republicans are
yeah.
sorry, don't mean to step over you, Artemis, but Republicans are airing the ads that say, I'm going to hunt rhinos. Like,
Yeah, you're not
that's-
Republican enough. If you are not a Republican and you're not like my specific brand of crazy Republican, then you're not actually a Republican, and you.
In fact, you're a communist. You know
It is.
that?
Well, that is the fucking thing that is so infuriating, is that they're willing to go up there and say, oh, the Republicans are pushing for this neo-fascist organization, which is, I mean, demonstrably true, but at the same time, they're making the exact same mistakes in such a fragile republic that you shouldn't be doing. Like, they're just purging all of their, like, populist and left-wing support in the interest of these fucking old dudes. Meanwhile, we're on our first coup attempt, and if we are looking at some historical precedent, the first one might have ended with a bunch of people getting disgraced and arrested, but what happens when those people get out of jail?
America loves a comeback story.
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna do a
2024, baby.
I can't wait for
Coup harder.
2033, where we're gonna do a rerun, but on a larger scale.
2020 coup. All right, there we go.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah. Hey everyone, it's Kelton from the podcast that you're listening to right now. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to all of our patrons for their continued support of the show. Specifically, I wanted to thank Philip, Jacob, Kay, CJ, Drew, Nicole, Pizpos, Jorge, Alex, Lizzie, Broobs, Jack, The Bite Size Podcast, Rufus, Not a Mole Rat, Salad Fringers, The Brilliant Dr. Fly, Olive Lotion Wizard, Comrade Kometka, Alan S., Eli, Malwin, Tyler, Alan D., EMD, Samantha, Tim, Scott, The Warlock Phosphorus, AS Marxist, Cody, Kira, Jen, Knightley, Julian, Julia, and Dylan. Y'all help keep the lights on, the logos made, and let us know that we must be doing something right. And for everyone else listening to this, if you want to give us a couple bucks and listen to an extra bonus episode every week, head on over to patreon.com/Psychic Dolphin Garage. That's patreon.com/Psychic Dolphin Garage. And now, back to the show.
Woo! Well, to drag us, out of Texas and into wider news about the goings-on in the rest of the world, we're going to ignore the DeSantis campaign that's bound to start any day now.
How dare you talk of our future president that way? I'm immediately pivoting at the first sign.
God bless Supreme Leader.
Ron DeSantis.
They are surprisingly young for his evil amount. DeSantis, yes, enjoy.
Who's his VP?
I don't know, Satan himself, the
I
reservoir.
I was thinking a
Disney's
pack of
amputated
hungry dogs, a pit bull with a baby hanging out of its mouth.
Hey, I want to be very clear.
They're just
that baby was
raised
not
that way.
aborted.
They're not
They
all
are
they're they're not all like that. But when you allegedly, as Ron DeSantis, feed them small pieces of child intentionally, to make the perfect running mate, that is what you get.
Oh God.
I'm just saying that's a hypothetical. I would never assert that, he feeds baby pieces, but
Of course not. No,
Of course
he definitely allegedly does that.
Definitely. Other things that are, definitely allegedly happening on CEN Business. The Starbucks CEO says there are going to be many more store closings, as Starbucks is beginning to ramp up closing stores over safety concerns, and definitely not as a union busting measure.
Well, it's safety concerns for them, right?
Safety concerns for their shareholders.
Yeah. Shit, they're unionizing. Oh God, we gotta close this.
I gotta
That's
tell
something
you.
that's also like what happened to Chipotle. They were like, "Yeah, we unionized the Chipotle." Chipotle's like, "We're now closing that location." Like,
It is literally illegal, but guess what? State judges are not elected. They're put in place by asshats who enjoy wiping poop off of other people's butts and then licking the toilet paper clean for the next person.
That's got to be like the world's worst bribe, Like, I'm deep in the pockets of big Chipotle.
Well,
Fuck.
it's probably whatever larger food conglomerate or cartel is in charge.
Yeah, but then your checks come from an organization called like Yum Foods or whatever the fuck. That also isn't cool, you know? Trying to snort a fat rail using a check that, you know, has like a Hello Kitty thing.
I like that in your world of political corruption, you just straight up get a fucking check.
Well, you know, like, come on.
It's not as if it's not wired through like 8 different Swiss people with different identical German names.
Fine, a receipt, not an actual check.
Yeah,
fuck
the
yeah.
4 top owners of Chipotle currently: T. Rowe Price Associates, the Vanguard Group, BlackRock Fund Advisors.
Oh, hey, those are the people that are causing the realty crisis right now. Nice.
Huh.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost my place. Edgewood Management,
Uh-huh.
Pershing Square Capital Management, SSGA Funds,
Boy.
Capital Research and Management, Capital Research and Management, Jennison Associates, Fidelity Management.
Oh, yeah. Okay, all of these are like all of those, like Fidelity and Vanguard, are just like boring people's retirement funds.
Yeah.
They're like, Starbucks is stable. It's fine. They'll never unionize. We have promises from their CEO. Crush them on site, they said.
8,000 letters from shareholders. Yeah, I think Starbucks is just really, really ticked off that Black Rifle Coffee Company got that $2 billion valuation. Remember that?
Yeah, do you think we could actually pitch that? Be like, guess what? Starbucks hates unions. Black Rifle Coffee Company. Are you also on that lib shit? Do you hate unions too?
Oh, God. Don't you want your workers, your strong workers who show up and kick ass, to also be union strong?
We can call it a guild. A badass guild. Huh?
The Black Rifle Coffee Company Guild.
I think we need to go back to having fucking syndicates.
Oh, shit. They
Okay.
would probably get into that. Yeah, they would be.
I think we should convince Black Rifle to form syndicate militias.
Immediately I'm backing away slowly. 'Cause
They should no. Hear me out. They should wear red show their support for the Republican Party, and black to show their support for Black Rifle Coffee.
Uh-huh.
And then they should take all of those workers, you know, that came from the old union, and they should give them the rifles and then turn around.
I like where your head is at, by the way. It's, I don't
In an
know.
ideal world, we could make this happen.
I mean, you know, we could just, you know,
We live in a world where CNN Business is like reading the letter from Howard Schultz that he wrote specifically to CNN Business and being like, yes, they're doing it over safety concerns because there's a lot of safety concerns. A lot of, you know, there's not enough, like, stores have been saying that there's like stuff that they need to like, you know, to meet customers' needs. And instead of providing those, they're just going to close the stores.
yeah, because
they
that's
definitely
what
care-
makes sense.
Definitely care about partners.
Well, you see, they were out of medium cups, and so out of the interest of safety, we decided to fire all of those unionized workers.
Definitely not going to take 2 years for all of these NLRB lawsuits to go through, and by that point, there will be no momentum for the Starbucks workers. So, you know, another successful union busting.
Congrats to everyone. Yes. Now let's start up. I don't know, like a DSA union shop where like half the workers end up canceling each other within 3 months of starting. Can we do that?
Wait, speaking of the DSA, the YDSA convention was here in Minneapolis.
Oh my God,
a
Artemis.
couple days ago, and I guarantee you half that convention walked out either hating each other or actively in a polycule.
Yeah, wait. I'm so happy for you and your youth and the sense of camaraderie that you feel. It's very heartwarming, and it's also really great. But maybe some days, once all of you dirty college socialists get a real job, you'll find out what life is like in Japan, where to try and solve the overworked employee problem in Japan, they are now having everyone sleep upright in a quote-unquote nap box in the office that looks exactly like a coffin. You know, that thing that they can lock and then just shoot you out of and into the ocean whenever you get fired.
I think they're just prepping us for the long sleep that we're going to do in our big space pods that will orbit the Earth.
Oh my god.
Or the
please.
long cryo sleep they're going to lock us in to see who will survive climate change and who won't.
It really does seem like the designer was like, so I saw on Twitter how people were talking about, I will not live in the pod. Well, what if I made the pod? Huh? What if I made the pod a real thing? Huh?
We made the poverty housing machine from... We made the depression box from the hit book Don't Build the Depression Box.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, like, it's amazing to think the things that the company will do instead of giving people 9 to 5. It's the same thing, like, with Starbucks. It's insane to think the things that they'll do instead of just letting a union exist to protect workers' rights. Like, it's just gross examples of companies fucking people over.
Yeah, one of the things, and I know Japan is like super conservative and has
A
just
little
a
less
shitload
conservative
of,
now than they were like 2 weeks ago, but you know.
well, they are, to my knowledge, exactly one less asshole conservative.
One less conservative points.
Overlong office hours are famously an issue among employees in Japan. So it's like they're pitching it as like, Japanese people work so hard. They work so hard.
Has this happened to you? Shows a guy committing suicide due to being overworked.
Overlong office hours are famously an issue among employees in Japan. Like, are your hourly wages not enough? Or do you need to just like implement a policy that would make more sense to just implement a policy that's like, after 8 hours, you can no longer work. You're automatically signed out of your desktop. Go the fuck home.
Get into the pod. Go. You are no longer allowed here. It's like bank teller tubes that just shoot you off at
Yeah,
the end of the day.
They put you into the ball buster pod. Speaking of busting balls,
Ooh, hot.
the first transgender military training instructor, I'm reading that as drill sergeant for my own personal amusement, was announced. was announced recently. The instructor in question, Brandon Rodriguez, had actually been serving as an instructor for almost a decade, but had only come out in 2017. For some reason, it's coming out now. Very proud of him. However, there is some sort of comedic message in, yes, sir, before I frag you for committing me to a horrible act of war crimes, what are your pronouns? I just think it's hilarious to me because I remember when I was registering for the selective service not too long ago, that was like a big thing that, well, I guess it was during Trump, so I couldn't have joined anyway. I think it's so nice that I have been given the opportunity to go and fucking die and to get screamed at by somebody who's gone through the same thing as me.
Look,
well, sorry, go ahead, Zach.
We don't, our budget for name tape is not even going to change that much if we add another inch to ensure that pronouns are included.
Hot.
Okay?
Adding an inch, hot.
Okay,
Oh.
I'm just imagining the fucking military like pin ceremony where the dickhead superior officer deliberately sticks the pins into your like flesh.
Mhm.
Oh,
But we do that with a pronoun pin.
Yeah, it's instead of an army pen, it's an army peg.
By the way, I'm saying they should do that. That is good. That is a good thing. But it is comical to think about the U.S. military in that way.
I'm just picturing now, like Joe Biden trying to put like the trans flag pin on someone while they're making like the ahegao, whatever the fuck face that was. I bet you the
Oh,
Parents
not all
Association
trans
that.
people do that. The type of trans people who join the military are far worse.
They're war criminals first, trans second. I understand. That's
trans girls will be the cutest thing you've ever seen, and then say, "I stand this war criminal."
Huh.
It's a drone strike live Twitch stream.
Yeah. My transition goal is that one politician in Texas.
My transition goals give us.
Yeah, my transition goal is that one Russian politician justifying the invasion of Ukraine. Well, and I sort of wanted to highlight this because it comes at the same time that a survey of the U.S. population found serious concerns about the future of an all-volunteer force. Essentially, they found that going forward, due to basically every major military recruiter in the country not being able to hit their quota, it is very possible they will not have enough new soldiers going forward. This was highlighted recently by a number of fun threads of people, of like 18-year-olds, responding to recruiters with, "Fuck you, I have been selling crack for the last 2 years, and I would prefer to continue doing so."
This is how we get the Halo reality, right? Women are forced to give birth to children. Children are then taken in for military programs.
Okay,
and then...
to be fair, in the fictional Halo world, they didn't force any births.
They straight up cloned.
No, well, yeah, no. It's slightly worse than that. They stole the 10-year-olds and made a clone of them that was supposed to die, so that the parents would think they lost a child prematurely when actually their child had been indoctrinated into being a super soldier.
If that isn't, an allegory for trans rights, I'm not sure what else.
And
is.
all I can
what that
say
means,
is
I
it's
have no idea.
Fucked up that I didn't get the chance. Come on, it's a difference of 4 years. You couldn't have gotten me in there. I would have taken all of the horrifying chemicals and shit.
Hormonifying, yeah.
Yeah, you could have put like performance enhancing drugs and like the old shit they gave the World War II soldiers into my fucking estrogen shots every day, and I'd take that shit.
We refined that shit down to methamphetamine, okay?
I would do PT every day for my trans mask instructor. I would happily call in Cass from my they-them pilot. The future of infantry-based crimes is female, okay?
There's infantry and trans being overlaid over that in a disgusting poster.
Intransy.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah.
Aww.
We love that.
I think we won't, like, we're not gonna have an issue, because there is going to be a point where TRICARE is better than any healthcare that you can get.
That's not true. I have TRICARE. It's awful.
I'm convinced that we're gonna spiral, and there will be a point, like as prices inflate and like insurance gets worse and worse for like working people, there will be a point where TRICARE is better than like any insurance you can get if you make $50,000 or less.
TRICARE is really good if you never want to have a consistent provider, and what you want to do is watch your teeth rot in real time, or pray to God you get put in somewhere shitty for like 6 years.
Well,
that sounds great. Again, support our troops, especially support the trans troops, right?
And definitely you should, if we do go to conscription, I recommend you conscript me first. I can be trusted with automatic weapons. You should put me in any place against America's enemies. I will absolutely follow orders. I will not walk out into the middle of the desert with my rifle and a list of all of our ciphers.
I will definitely not private pile myself.
I will not walk out and just surrender immediately to the Iranian forces and ask to be enrolled in the Revolutionary Guard. They're They're pretty trans positive in the Revolutionary Guard. That sounded like a pretty good deal.
I've heard interesting things about Iranian policies on trans rights. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week's episode.
You can hear about it in the Patreon.
Speaking of enrolling in the Revolutionary Guard, if you want more PDG, be sure and enroll in our Patreon. That's the closest that you can get from your living room to being a Revolutionary Guards person.
That's an excellent plug. But before people leave, again, we have a very special thing that we need to do here.
Oh yes.
We're
at 50 minutes.
Oh, we're not gonna do it.
Fuck.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll get to you later.
We can cover it in the Patreon.
No, we'll just do it.
That's
next
not
week.
fair.
That's
Man asked a question.
exactly okay.
We'll get to your question. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Thank
okay.
you for
Sorry.
the voicemail. We will throw voicemail and other listener questions in next week. So
yes, when
watch
we
out for
don't have
those.
a overly long article that my dumbass decided to read.
Hey,
Yes,
you know
yes.
what? It's important that we let everyone know.
Hey,
Right
what
now,
are you, a fucking journalist?
it's the beginning. It's the beginning.
Plagiarist.
It's
Plagiarist first. Podcaster second.
It's the
It's
beginning.
an art form.
It's the beginning of season 4. We have to go ahead and make our predictions now, so that later on we can reference them when they come true.
I like that. So everyone, please go ahead. We're about to hop off and jump onto the Patreon. So yeah, please, people, check that out. If you want to be for the listener questions episode that we're going to be doing next week, please go ahead and ask us either via email at psychicdolphingarage@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 512-402-2089. Something we also haven't mentioned for the past few episodes, but we do have a Discord. We do have a weekly question roundup. So if that's y'all's preferred method, we are also available for that. That certainly helps out things as we go. Looking forward to next week already. Can't wait for what weird hellscape is going to await us. In the meantime, please also go ahead and rate us 5 stars on iTunes and Spotify. I guess other places too. I don't know. Do y'all rate podcasts on, like, I don't know, Stitcher Premium or something like that? iHeartRadio.
I rate mine
Plus?
on Yelp.
Yeah, you go to our personal home addresses and then rate our podcast, which we have geotagged there, of course.
Yes, I enjoy it. I can't wait for us to set up like a Google Map shop at 1601 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's our shipping address. But it sounds good. In the meantime, we love you all. Bye.
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 Solidarity, all in together for the clarity. Solidarity, to each according to his need, it ain't charity. Solidarity, all in together for the